Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open the playbook for a job that could make you a multi-millionaire. We're talking about becoming a C-level exec for a private equity-backed company. Now, this is a world with totally different rules, way higher risks, and a potential payoff that is just astronomical.
And look, this isn't some hypothetical, made-up story. This is a real example from the book we're using as our guide today, Jim Gilraith's Skin in the Game. Just think about that for a second. An $11 million return on a $100,000 investment in only 5 years. It sounds pretty much impossible, right?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? And it's exactly what we're going to break down. This isn't about getting lucky. It's about a very specific, incredibly demanding, and super strategic way of looking at a C-level role that basically turns you from an employee into an owner.
Okay, let's get into it. Part 1, the concept. This is so much more than just a job.
The whole model is built on this one core idea, famously called skin in the game, by none other than Warren Buffett. The private equity groups, the PEs, they want leaders who are all in. Your financial interests have to be perfectly, and I mean perfectly, aligned with theirs. If the company does well, you win big. But if it fails, you lose your own money right alongside them.
So just how different are we talking? We'll take a look. In a normal executive job, you're focused on your salary, your bonus, the perks. Your personal financial risk, it's pretty low. But in a skin-in-the-game role, that gets flipped completely on its head. Your main goal is a massive jump in the company's value. And the risk? Well, it's your own cash on the line. The reward, though, is a piece of that massive payday.
And when we say your own cash, we're not talking about a token amount. For a CEO candidate, a typical investment is around $100,000 just to get the job. This isn't symbolic, it's a serious, painful if it goes wrong kind of commitment.
And this right here, this is the absolute key. You have to get this mindset shift. If you walk into one of these talks asking about company cars or country club fees, the PEG has already checked out. The whole conversation, everything, is about one thing, the exit. That's the day the company gets sold and everybody's investment pays off.
All right, part 2, the preparation. You have to think of this as building your arsenal. So if a standard resume won't cut it, what do you bring to the fight? This playbook gives you 3 critical weapons. First, something called the Indiana Jones bio, which tells your whole story. Second, you assemble a reference posse for undeniable proof. And third, you rebuild your resume to speak the only language private equity really cares about, cold, hard numbers.
The Indiana Jones bio is your secret weapon. It is not a resume. Think of it more like a detailed story of your entire career, packed with facts, data, and even explaining why you made certain moves. It's the deep dive evidence that proves you're not just saying you can grow a company, you can show them exactly how you've done it before.
This really gets to the core of the PEG mindset. They are skeptical of, well, everything. They look at a normal reference check with a huge grain of salt. A quick phone call to a buddy you handpicked? Yeah, that's not going to fly. That's why you need a reference posse, a whole collection of pre-written testimonials on company letterhead. It's proactive, and it's pretty much undeniable.
Okay, part 3, the execution. Welcome to what they call the due diligence gauntlet.
And this is where all that prep work just clicks into place. It's a perfect lock and key. The PEG says they need to see serious profit growth. Boom, you show them the hard KPIs on your resume. They need someone with turnaround experience. You hand them your IJ bio with a detailed case study. Every single tool in your arsenal is built to answer one of their big, skeptical questions.
This is what it looks like in practice. You can't just use vague corporate speak like, I'm a dynamic sales leader. No, a candidate from the playbook pointed to a 78% improvement in sales over just 2 years. That's a concrete number. That's what gets their attention.
Or how about this one? A candidate proved they cut operating costs by $5 million. See, these aren't just bullet points. They're direct, measurable contributions to the bottom line. The most crucial thing is to quantify everything.
Now hang on. It's easy to think this is a one-way street with them just grilling you, but it's not. Remember, you are about to write a very large check. This gauntlet, it runs both ways. You have to vet them just as hard as they're vetting you.
Because you're an investor now, you have to do your homework. The playbook says to ask the really tough questions. Don't just take their word for it.
Insist on talking to other CEOs in their portfolio to get the real, unvarnished story. You need to get your hands on the company's Confidential Information Memorandum, the CIM, to see the raw financials for yourself. Is this board going to be a partner, or are they going to micromanage you to death? You have to know that before you invest.
And that brings us to part 4, the prize, the multi-million-dollar offer.
When that offer finally lands, it isn't just a salary number. It's a complex document. It's a map. It's the blueprint that lays out your equity, your stock options, the whole vesting schedule. It's literally the investment thesis that you are betting your money and your career on.
So what could that payoff really look like? Here's a great example from the book. A CFO puts in $60,000. 5 years down the road, after a successful exit, they walk away with $750,000. And you can see here, even in a low-growth scenario, the return is huge. But in a high-growth situation, well, that's where it becomes absolutely life-changing.
And look, while those numbers are just staggering, the playbook makes a great point that the real prize is something more. It's that fundamental shift from just being an employee who collects a paycheck to being a true owner who has a direct stake in the value you show up and create every single day.
So this playbook, it lays out a path to an incredible outcome, but it demands a ton of preparation. It puts you under intense scrutiny, and it involves very real personal risk. It's so much more than a career move. It's a calculated, high-stakes bet on your own ability to create massive value. So the only question left is, are you willing to make that bet?